What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Alan C in the place to be. Checking in one more time. I appreciate y'all for coming through. Let's go ahead. Appreciate everyone for listening. Appreciate everyone for rocking with me during this football season. Um, as you see on the ticker, follow Al U Bugging on X and Instagram at Al_U_Bugging. All right. So let's go ahead and get the proceeding this evening. Not going to take too much of your time. We're going to start with last night's game. Buffalo beat the Miami Dolphins 31-10. The game wasn't really that close. But before we continue, I would be remiss if I wouldn't say, shout out to or prayers up for Tua Tagovailoa. This is his third serious concussion or concussion-like injury in the last 3 years. So we're not even talking about football play anymore. We're talking about quality of life now for Tua. And, he's faced with a decision of his football mortality. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a family man. He, I know his brother was here in Maryland playing football, so prayers to them. But he has to really seriously consider, man. I got paid. What is my quality of life going to be after I hang up the cleats? I know no one wants to really think about that in anything. I mean, a lot of people, especially young 20s, don't think about their own actual mortality, let alone career mortality at 26. But I mean, again, you can't be doing this forever, and you want to have a quality of life after this. So how do you assure that? How do you take care of that? How do you I said, do you continue to play and not want to disappoint your fans and disappoint your organization and disappoint your team? Or do you continue to play and disappoint your family? So this is, you got to really have a long, serious talk about this. Other than that, the game was fully dominated and over long before Tua got hurt. The first half was all Buffalo. James Cook, 11 carries, 78 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also had a TD catch out the backfield. I think that was when went for like 17 yards. Josh Allen was an efficient 13 for 19, 139 yards, and a touchdown as well. I said something online, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't have a controversial take. I said this is feeling like it could be a Josh Allen MVP season. The reason I say that, Josh Allen is finally playing football without making too many mistakes. Josh Allen is finally playing football without trying to take over and be Superman. That Superman complex. If he continue to play how he's playing and handle how he's handled his roster, how he's handling it, Josh Allen in the last 2 games have completely controlled everybody that's on the field when he's on there. So he's done it with the big output of 4 touchdowns in week 1. He did it with the subtle approach of handing the ball off and getting a touchdown in week 2, just 1 single touchdown, not doing too much. And again, not going crazy. Josh Allen had to mature and learn that there's other plays. And if he continues to play the way he's been playing, never mind the yards, the touchdowns, none of that. Forget all of that. He has a good chance of winning or being in the MVP discussions. And when I did my season preview, he was number 3. So I think if he continues to play in the way he's playing, I think he can really take over and be that MVP race. But enough of that. You know, like I said, shouts out to Tua, prayers up for Tua and his head injury. Like I was saying earlier, just worried about the human being because this is his 3rd head injury in 3 years. I know people don't want to talk about the CTE thing, but as far as studies have shown, smarter men than me have studied it and seen to correlate that with head injuries. So again, we worried about quality of life at this point for Tua. All right, y'all. It's a game at the bank. So let's talk about the injuries first. For the Raiders, Tyree Wilson, edge rusher, is out. Jackson Powers Johnson is a game time decision with illness. For the Ravens, rookie cornerback Nate Wiggins is out. He was in a car accident. I don't know what's going on with the Ravens in these accidents in the last, few months, but he's out for an accident. And Adisa Isaac, other second round rookie, everyone will say, maybe 3rd. He's doubtful. And Kyle Van Noy, who I thought was going to be out missing some time with his orbital fracture, he's questionable to play. Van Noy said he feels good. He feels like he could possibly get out there. He's been practicing. So we'll see what happens with Van Noy. As far as who I need to have a good game, this offensive line led by Ronnie Stanley need to make sure Max Crosby stays as far away from my quarterback as possible. Max Crosby is one of the best defensive edge rushers in this league. We don't see Myles Garrett or TJ Watt for some time. So this is going to be the test, the biggest test. I mean, I think CJ got to Lamar once on last Thursday. But we need to keep Max Crosby as far away as possible from Lamar. The Raiders wide receivers, Jacoby and Devontae Adams, cannot get behind the defense. We need to make sure that the communication issues that they've had last week gets cleaned up. I know it's a brand new defensive coordinator in Zach Orr, but with the rookies, with the reps that Marlon Humphrey and Kyle and Marcus has had together, they should be, communicating with this defense. Roquan is a very smart player, getting his defense in the front, the front, getting that together. Again, communication issues, try to limit those as much as possible in the second week. But for new defensive coordinator, you expect to have growing pains. So the growing pains of a defensive coordinator is the communication issues. That's just what it is, because if I'm expecting somebody to play over top and they playing middle or they blitz, that's a wide open touchdown. So also we have to win the turnover battle. We're playing against Gardner Minshew. He's not one of the elite quarterbacks. So to go from Pat Mahomes in opening week to Gardner Minshew, and again, this is the NFL, so every quarterback is good. But it's a drop-off between Pat and Gardner. So we need to be able to get to Gardner, get him on the ground, and when he's not on the ground, it's because he's panicking, throwing the ball up to, Kyle Hamilton, to Marcus Williams, to Eddie Jackson, Marlon Humphrey, Brandon Stevens, etc. So we definitely need to win the turnover battle. I'm expecting Derrick Henry, as we control this game, to get a lot more than 13 carries. I know it was said earlier that we didn't bring him here to get 30. This is the week to get him 30. because we should be coasting and getting ready to run the air out the ball in the second half. And this should be the week to give him 30. Um, and I'm also curious of how we're going to be using Mark, because when they bring in those heavy linebackers to try to stop Derrick Henry out the backfield, you got Mark and you got Isaiah Likely lined up on linebackers. It should be a easy mismatch with those two. And I seen it in preseason where Likely, Lamar, and Zay was all together and hanging out a lot on the preseason games. And we've seen that he kind of features Zay and Likely in his offense. We need Bateman to get off. We need Mark Andrews to go off. Justice Hill out the backfield, continue to catch the ball out the backfield. But like I said, Mark Andrews only had like 2 catches for like 20 yards last week. And I want to see that production go up a little bit more. But my prediction for the game is the Ravens win this game going away. Shouldn't even be close. The spread is 8 points. If you're a betting man, gamble responsibly. But I think we should cover that spread, honestly. All right, y'all. I didn't do this going into the season, but I think I will be I'm gonna be doing power rankings moving forward. Let's just start at the bottom. 32 Panthers, Giants. This whole slide right here. Bottom 8 teams in the league. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, you see the Raiders there at 26. Clearly, the Ravens is not on this, so they're better. So again, should be easy, not easy, but should be a comfortable win. 24 got the Falcons, 23 the Bears. I'm interested to see how much the Saints and the Chargers can actually jump up from week 1. I think on this slide, I think those two should be inching towards 10 as we go forward, but we'll see. The Chargers have the Panthers, so they should be moving forward. And then the Saints got the Cowboys. So if they win that, they'll definitely be moving forward. On this slide here, Packers could possibly be dropping without their quarterback. And I mentioned Tua at 10. They could possibly be dropping. Again, they've already played. So we'll see how far of a slide I think they deserve on this one. Jaguars have the Browns. Now, the Jaguars don't live up to what I believe that they can do against the Browns. They might be candidates to drop. I would like to see them start moving towards this 10, especially with Dolphins and Packers missing their quarterback for some time. I want to see them start moving towards the number 10. But in the top 10, as it stands after week 1, had the Dolphins, the Rams, the Bills, the Eagles, the Texans, the Cowboys, Ravens at 4, Lions at 3, 49ers at 2, and then Super Bowl champs haven't lost a game since Christmas, the Kansas City Chiefs. So I expect to see some comments about my rankings on these teams, or who do you think should be high? Who do you think should be lower? Follow the video and like and, put your comments on. I'll definitely air what I can and address them. Like I said, this should be changing going into week 2, but we'll see. All right, so the games, like I said, I got League Pass, so I'm watching all of them, or Sunday ticket rather for the NFL. So I'm watching all of them, but the ones that I'm really, really paying attention to in week 2, Cowboys going against New Orleans. Cowboys was very patient with their defense, very defensive savvy. Dak Prescott came out hot in the first half and then cooled off in that second half, but they didn't need him to be great in the second half against the Browns. We'll see if, New Orleans completely dominated the Panthers. So we'll just see if these what are matchups or what do these teams, look like as they play each other. Because both of these teams were very dominant. But I do have the Cowboys winning against New Orleans. And then 4 o'clock, the Chiefs versus the Bengals. The Bengals, they were calling it Barrelhead at one time. As Joe Burrow is 3-1 against Pat Mahomes. We'll see if he's 3-2 at the end of Sunday. He hasn't beat the Chiefs in a long time. T. Higgins will be out again. So it's basically him and Jamar Chase going against Pat Mahomes and Rashid Rice. The Chiefs did put Hollywood Brown on injured reserve, so we won't see him till week 5. But Rashid Rice and Xavier Worthy and Kelsey and Isaiah Pacheco, I can see them completely dominating the Bengals this week as well. And then the 8 o'clock, you got the young bull, C.J. Stroud, going against the Bear Cub on only his second start, Caleb Williams. Houston, I think, is on its way up as one of the elite teams in the NFL. So this will probably be a statement game for CJ. But Bears defense was lights out. The Bears defense is what won the game against the Titans last week. So I don't see CJ making the same mistakes that Will Levis was going to make. And because of that, I have the Houston Texans winning the 8 o'clock game. All right, let's move to the picks. Last week, my locked-in picks that I guaranteed to win, 2 of them did. The Bears and the Chargers over the Raiders won. Bengals over Patriots, they're not. So let's do my locked-in for this week. Again, I'm guaranteeing these teams to win. Don't bet on them. Again, gamble at your own risk. I will not be held liable for you risking more than what you can afford to pay. So gamble responsibly, y'all. But I got the Jets dominant over the Titans. The Jets get their defense together and dominate this game completely. I think their offense looked very vanilla against one of the top rosters. No, the team I think has the top roster in the NFL, and that's the 49ers. So I expect the Jets to get, to use a very Cody punt. I expect the Jets to take off against the Titans this week. So again, let's see their defense and their offense getting better and completely dominating the Titans this week. All right, and then I got the Lions guaranteed a victory over Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was a very close game in the playoffs, and I don't think the Lions are favored by much. So this is more of a risk take this week, but I'm going with the Lions to get a win over the Buccaneers. And lastly, my last locked-in pick, I have the Rams completely dominating and running ramp shot over the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams lost a very close game to the Lions last week. I think both of these teams are 2 of the top NFC teams, and Arizona is one of the weaker NFC teams. So anything can happen in a divisional matchup, but I got the Rams dominating this game. All right, y'all, my upset alerts. I called the Steelers over the Falcons last week. I know they didn't score, but I know they didn't score a touchdown, but they still scored enough to give me that upset alert victory. That was the one that I sided with last week. So for this week, Jaguars are favorite. I can't speak. Jaguars are favorites in this game. But Bulldogs, the Browns, Sorry, the Browns, not the Bulldogs. I got college football on my mind. The Browns, I see being a lot better, and there's unnatural funk going on around Trevor Lawrence, and they've lost 6 straight games after they were one of the top seeds in the AFC last year. Um, before they went on that 6 game slide last year, they were in there for winning the AFC South. So let's see. This game should be a good matchup. The Broncos over the Steelers. Know the Broncos are young, and Sean Payton is trying to get Bo Nix up and ready. I'm not saying that they will win, but if you look at Justin Fields and his career, not too many back-to-back wins on his roster. I mean, not too many back-to-back wins on his resume. And he will be starting this week. I think if the Broncos can generate any type of offense, the Steelers will be in trouble. And we have an offensive coach going with Bo Nix in his second start. So we'll see. We will see. All right. But the games that I am picking to win, I got San Francisco beating the Vikings. I have Seattle beating New England. I have the Commanders beating the Giants. Chargers beating the Panthers. The Cowboys, we've already talked about that win. The Colts beating the Packers. Again, upset alert for the Browns. Jets guaranteed, as close to a guarantee as possible to win over the Titans. The Lions, again, I'm guaranteeing as close as possible to beat the Buccaneers. Ravens over Raiders. Rams over Cardinals. Chiefs over Bengals. Broncos over Steelers. Texans over the Bears. And then on Monday night, you have the Eagles versus the Falcons. I have the Eagles winning that one. If y'all see my picks there. All right. College football this weekend. Sorry, I don't have a graphic for this. But the 2 top 25 teams that are playing each other, or 2 top 25 games where you have 2 top 25 teams. Kansas State versus Arizona is tonight at 8 o'clock. I got Arizona winning this. Jacob Harris versus Ted McMillan is a 2025 draft board matchup. So McMillan is the wide receiver for Arizona, and Jacob Harris is a cornerback for Kansas State. So I see McMillan versus Harris. These are 2 top 25. 2025 draft matchups, if you will. And then I have Missouri versus number 6 Missouri versus number 24 Boston College tomorrow afternoon at 12:45. Missouri wide receivers Luther Burden and Theo Wees are high on draft boards for the 2025 NFL draft. So watch those 2 out. Look at those 2. Let me know what you think about that. What you think about those teams? All right. So Monday Night Football, you got the Eagles versus the Falcons. So Kirk Cousins did not look too good in week 1 against the Steelers. The Steelers did not score a touchdown, and Kirk Cousins could not take advantage, losing to a game that he only needed 20 to win. They got 18 points. So Kirk Cousins did not look too good, but he said he's healthy coming off of this Achilles. Falcons' deep offense and defense should be better this year, but you never know how it is with the Falcons. So I got the Eagles. I don't think they can cover Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown. And then you got Saquon coming out the backfield. You got Dallas Goedert. Jalen Hurts, if he don't throw this game away, I got the Eagles winning this one and not particularly close. Like I said, the Steelers couldn't even score the ball, and they won. Couldn't even score a touchdown, and they won. So, give me the Eagles by 10 in this matchup. I'm gonna be bold. Eagles by 17 in this matchup on Monday night. But I think Falcons start to get it together because I did pick them to win the NFC South. So I think the Falcons start to get it together next week and go on a run. But I think every team in the NFC South loses this week, so it still keeps them only, one game behind. And that is my show for this evening. Y'all continue to follow me on Al You Buggin' on Instagram and on Twitter at Al_U_buggin'. I'm also on Spill. I'm also on what is that? I forgot the other. Come on, y'all. Don't have me looking this old out here. Another one of them social media apps. Threads. That's what it is. I'm also on Threads at Al_U_buggin'. So follow me there. I appreciate y'all for taking your time out to view. Enjoy these games that are coming up this weekend. Like I said, there should be some good college games on tomorrow. As we start to get deeper into conference play as the season goes on, you start to get into some high profile matchups. That's intra conference. So enjoy, be blessed, be productive, be more. Talk to you later.